believe that Kang changed the entire timeline of the MCU multiverse to remove Doctor Doom's origin, because Kang fears Doctor Doom. In fact, I think he fought against Doctor Doom in the Multiversal War. And upon ending that Multiversal War and recreating the sacred timeline, Kang's top priority was making sure that Doctor Doom did not exist. And there is actually a ton of evidence for this in the different MCU shows and movies, but there's also evidence for this based on rumors and leaks that are out there right now. We're going over all of it in this video, and I think it's gonna blow your freaking mind. Oh, and also I should mention this video was inspired by a video that Screen Crush did, and I liked Ryan's video, but it really was more of an explanation of Kang's overall plan and stuff that we kind of already knew about Kang's motivation. And I personally, as like a massive Doctor Doom fan, just didn't get what I was hoping for out of Ryan's video, but I want to thank Ryan because he inspired me to make my version of that video, which you're watching right now. And trust me, this shit's about to slap hard. So I think the best way to begin explaining why we have actual evidence that He Who Remains, or Kang, was trying to prevent Doctor Doom is to focus on the fact that Kang is a liar. Like, consider this as just one example of what I'm talking about, but when Kang is explaining the multiversal war, he has this weird 3D printed technology thing that is literally showing a whole bunch of Kangs looking exactly the same, fighting with their baton.
Fighting to preserve their universe and annihilate the others.
And if you think that's how the actual multiversal war went, you are dumb. All right, I probably shouldn't say that, but you're mistaken. That is definitely not how that shit went down. And we know this partially because just like in Marvel Comics, Kang is one of the most deceptive and scheming characters that there is. He lies to Sylvie and Loki and then admits that he fibbed.
So I fibbed. I fibbed earlier when I said I know how everything is going to go.
He lied about the Time Lords.
Oh yeah?
He lied to Ravonna about spending eternity with her after she helped him win the first multiversal war.
Velma Renslayer, you are quite a marvel. I will be proud to lead with you.
Been a long road. See you soon.
The bottom line is this: He Who Remains, or Kang, is not a reliable narrator, so we can't trust anything that he actually says. But we can look at what he actually did. Now, the first real piece of evidence that Kang had fear for Doctor Doom has to do with Loki Season 1 and the scanning process that differentiated Loki from a robotic mechanical being.
Please confirm to your knowledge that you are not a fully robotic being. We're born an organic creature and do in fact possess what many cultures would call a soul.
What?
Now, I don't know if anybody's actually dug very deeply into this concept here, but it shows that Kang does not want robotic beings to be brought in to the TVA. But what's further is it actually shows that there's the possibility of robotic beings coming into the TVA under the guise of just being a normal organic variant. And I believe this exact system, this security measure put forth by Kang, was for Doctor Doom specifically, but it's actually for the Doom bots. In Marvel Comics, Doctor Doom creates things known as Doom bots. They are basically almost as powerful as Doctor Doom. A lot of them actually believe they are the real Doctor Doom. You see, Doom bots are a lot like LMDs, life model decoys that Nick Fury uses, except that Doom bots are way more advanced. And Doctor Doom has created Doom bots to represent other people than Doctor Doom, most famously in the Children's Crusade run. When the Young Avengers first find the Scarlet Witch, it is revealed to actually not be the Scarlet Witch, and instead it is a Doom bot that was exactly like Wanda. So you see, the very fact that Kang was preparing for people to come into the TVA, but they were actually robotic beings, suggests that Kang has a history with Doctor Doom, and he was trying to prevent Doom bots from infiltrating the TVA. The next clue that Kang was trying to prevent Doctor Doom from existing or taking over the TVA and winning another multiversal war has to do with the fact that there's no magic allowed in the TVA. Now, a lot of people thought, oh, well, that's actually just for the Lokis and possibly for Sylvie. But remember that He Who Remains literally wrote a script to get them to come to him. So why would Kang make it so no magic would be able to be used inside the TVA? Well, it's probably because Doctor Doom is one of the greatest magic users out there in the multiverse. Doctor Doom not only has the magic abilities of the Sorcerer Supreme of Stephen Strange, but he technically can go even further than Stephen Strange is able to do. Strange has admitted this on several occasions, but it's basically the fact that Victor has zero fear and he sees no limits, and he thinks he can even make deals with the devil and then just double cross the devil because he's Doom. It's like, what would Kang do if he had experience with Doctor Doom and he was recreating the timeline and then had an organization outside of time that was making sure the timeline was exactly the way he wanted it to be? Well, he would ensure that this massive threat, this super powerful magic user that also created Doom bots, would not be able to infiltrate the place from which he controls the timeline. And I think those two things that are in the Loki season 1 show are actually great explanations of why and how Kang feared Doctor Doom. But hold on to your butts, because we're still cooking on this one. I think another example and clue that Kang was afraid of Doctor Doom is the fact that we've never seen a Doctor Doom variant that actually used magic. Now, this one's a little bit strange because it takes into account the canon of the other Fox Fantastic Four movies, but we know via Deadpool and Wolverine that this is something that's been on Kevin Feige's mind for a long time. And a part of the joy of the Multiverse Saga, when it is operating correctly, is utilizing the canon of these old movies and sort of recontextualizing them in a way that makes sense for an overall MCU canon. I say all that to say that we've seen 3 versions of Doctor Doom in live action. Technically, there was the McCormick version, then there was the version with Chris Evans and Jessica Alba, played by the guy from Nip Tuck. I forget his name. I think it's Julian. And then, of course, there was the version that was in the 2015 Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, that version. And every single one of those versions of Doctor Doom does not actually tap into magic. They all use technology or cosmic power, but they don't use magic. And another way to say this is that there are only variants of Doctor Doom out in the multiverse that are not magic users. Seemingly, this is another precaution done by Kang, possibly other versions of Kang if they're all controlling their individual timelines. And it could just be explained that Kang was only allowing versions of Doctor Doom that weren't like the real version of Doctor Doom, the version that Kang had interactions with in the Multiversal War, the one that used magic and Doombots, and the one that he fears. And I think another clue as to why Kang, or He Who Remains, is afraid of Doctor Doom is the fact that there's no Doctor Doom or Fantastic Four in the 616. Again, we know via Multiverse of Madness, but also these other Fox movies, that there were Fantastic Four and other versions of Victor out there in the multiverse, but there isn't one in the 616. And so Kang created a version of the timeline where the Fantastic Four never happened, and therefore Victor Von Doom never had a rivalry with Reed Richards, and then therefore he never became Doctor Doom. Now, as a small aside to this very point, I have this theory that the Iron Man, the Tony Stark Iron Man that we saw in the Infinity Saga, he's actually a Victor Von Doom variant that was adopted by the Starks. And I think all of that was preordained by Kang. I'm not 100% that that is the case. I mean, it's possible the Doom we're going to meet is a Tony Stark that becomes Victor Von Doom. It's also possible that this guy just looks like Tony Stark and he's just Victor Von Doom. This is just a version of Doom that exists out there in the multiverse. But if my theory is correct, then it supposes that Kang actually made Victor Von Doom become adopted by the Starks and become Tony Stark. That Kang was so afraid of Victor learning magic and becoming the Doom that he knew in the Multiversal War, that he made Doom become a hero and become raised by technologists, sort of ensuring that Victor would not dabble with magic and end up becoming the Doctor Doom that he was afraid of. Now, the next big clue or piece of evidence that Kang was afraid of Doctor Doom comes in the form of rumors about the Scarlet Witch. Right now in the MCU, we know that there was a prophecy written in stone and then later adapted into the Darkhold book that said that the Scarlet Witch was destined to either destroy or rule the cosmos. heroes. Well, we also know, according to people like Alex Perez, that there was a plan for it to be revealed that a variant of Kang is the person that wrote that prophecy into the Darkhold. And this was seemingly done to prevent Wanda from becoming as powerful as she could be. This was a prophecy that would be discovered almost all the time in different realities, and it would force the heroes or possibly even the villains of that particular universe to turn on Wanda to prevent the prophecy from coming true. And this is really interesting because we know that Wanda creates something that is out there within the multiverse in 616. She creates her children with Vision in the WandaVision show, of course. And the thing that's weird about that is we later find out that Wanda can see in all kinds of realities, once she starts using the Darkhold, that there are many universes where she's just with her children. But in 616, it was prevented, probably because of the prophecy. And yet, after He Who Remains loses control of the multiverse, Wanda then is able to just bring her children that were not in that reality into our 616 universe. So if Wanda has the ability to go out there and see things that are in other realities that are not in the Kang manipulated 616 timeline, then it stands to reason that Wanda could then change the reality of the 616 timeline and bring things into it that were supposed to exist in it, but Kang prevented. Basically, Wanda the Scarlet Witch could bring Doctor Doom into 616. She could just create the soul of 616 Doctor Doom, of Victor Von Doom, just like the way she did her children. And so on the one hand, this just shows that Kang is definitely afraid of Wanda as well. He's afraid potentially of mutants because we don't see them in the 616 either. But I think it also shows that he is very afraid of Victor Von Doom. He's afraid of how the Scarlet Witch could correct the things that he changed about the 616 sacred timeline, mostly that there's no Victor Von Doom. And yet another big clue that Kang was afraid of Doctor Doom is this scoop that's currently around all about how RDJ's Doctor Doom will be a sympathetic villain. Due to a lot of rumors and leaks, we believe that Doctor Doom will be recreating the 616 timeline. He will create a new universe. He's going to probably eliminate other universes like the multiverse so that there's no incursions. So he's creating a new universe and he's going to be sympathetic. And I personally believe this is because Victor will realize that in the 616 timeline, it was manipulated so that he would either not exist at all, or if my theory is correct, he would become a hero. And basically all of those rumors and all of those leaks suggest that Kang specifically catered the 616 timeline so that there was either no Victor Von Doom or so that Victor Von Doom would be adopted by the Starks and raised to be Iron Man. And I think the reason he went through all of that trouble is because he is terrified of Victor Von Doom. And so I just explained several crazy reasons and evidence within the shows and movies as to why Kang is afraid of Victor Von Doom, but I want to take it even further. Now, I really want to blow your minds because I think I actually know what happened in the Multiversal War, the real story of what happened in the Multiversal War. And you might say, Josh, there's no way you know that. We have no idea. All we have is what was said by Kang. And while that is technically true, if we combine what we know about Secret Wars from Marvel Comics and put it into context with everything I just mentioned in this video, I think we actually do have an idea of what happened in that multiversal war. In every version of Secret Wars, Doctor Doom obtains godlike power. Whether it's him absorbing the power of Galactus, absorbing the power of the Beyonder, or absorbing the power of the Beyonders, every version of Secret Wars has Doctor Doom ascending to godhead by tapping into crazy outerversal levels of power. And in every single version of Secret Wars, even though Doom has all the power, he's still Doctor Doom, and because of his own personal flaws and his humanity, he is essentially always tricked into losing that power. Like in the first version of Secret Wars, Doom gets the power of the Beyonder, he's godlike, but then the heroes, including Reed Richards, go to Doctor Doom and they just plant these seeds of doubt. Like, are you really sure you could be a god? Victor, are you sure a human is capable of doing all the things that you want to do? And Doom has this moment of doubt, this moment of weakness. He's very irritated by Reed Richards, and so he starts to get pissed off, and then the Beyonder sees an opportunity, goes back in there, takes the power away from Dr. Doom. In the Jonathan Hickman version of Secret Wars, Doom has the power of the Beyonders. He is confronted by Reed Richards and admits to Reed that Reed could have done a better job at saving the multiverse than Dr. Doom did. And it's at that point when the Molecule Man's like, okay, boom, well, let's just give all that Beyonder power to Reed then. Problem solved. And so even though we don't know exactly what happened in the first multiversal war, I bet a version of Dr. Doom obtained godlike power, and then due to his own human flaws, that power was stripped away from him. And then I believe in that moment, He Who Remains used the power of Goliath, ended the multiversal war after Doom had lost his godlike power, and then Kang recreated the timeline. And after witnessing what Victor did, getting godlike power, Kang was like, okay, priority number one, no Dr. Doom in the sacred timeline, which then further explains every single thing we've already talked about in this video. So there you have it, guys. My version of why Kang was afraid of Dr. Doom. Of course, let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.